Hey everyone, today we're diving into the wild world of books and murder. What's going on here? Then, as everyone expected, she delivered her classic line, in planning to foolishly write a book about murder. Then, she was like, I think I've killed someone, just like I wrote in my book, and am declaring myself a killer. I'm not stupid. The big guys were speechless. She requested a polygraph, so ridiculous. Many killers claim innocence but fail it. But lo and behold, a few minutes later, Caitlin miraculously passed the test, which technically means she isn't the killer. However, Nick had other thoughts because he once successfully dodged a polygraph test himself. All he could tell his colleagues was, the polygraph results are right in front of us. He had to pause there, but the whole situation still felt oddly smooth and suspicious. So naturally, they decided to dig deeper and discovered a few years back, a professor at Berkeley was also stabbed, with an ice pick of all things. Even more coincidentally, Caitlin was dealing with drugs. What are the odds? So the chief assigned tasks, and Nick was tasked with tailing Caitlin. He noticed Caitlin often visited an old guy at U. To better understand her network, he decided to dig in. He jotted down names from U's email, but was ambushed by the chubby guy when he returned to check info that evening. After some snooping, he discovered the murdered Berkeley professor was none other than Caitlin's mentor. Talk about coincidences. When the chubby guy saw the name Nick was looking up, he turned pale. It was a name he couldn't forget. This U had mysteriously vanished 11 days after getting older without a trace. What's crazier? U later cheerfully admitted his guilt. Nick fell into deep thought and the next day headed to Caitlin's place, ready for some straight talk. As soon as he stepped in, he spotted a bunch of papers about himself spread across the table, and Caitlin casually quipped, I'm using you as the inspiration for my next book. Everything written into a story by someone like her while sipping tea. It made Nick somewhat uncomfortable. He didn't forget his real agenda, so he began questioning her about the professor and you, but she waved him off with a couple of casual remarks. Then Caitlin shot back, questioning Nick's past with a look of disinterest, but Nick shrugged it off, had read about it in the papers anyway. However, Caitlin's next remark completely set Nick off. She casually mentioned she'd killed her wife, that little nugget had been sealed in a file already. Only his girlfriend Anna knew. How did she find out? That enraged him. He stormed into Anna's office, demanding why she spilled his private info. Don't lie to me. No, Nick, please. Who is Nick? He didn't care about the consequences and went straight to the record group's Nelson, and due to his impulsiveness, he got himself suspended. But right after arguing with Nelson that evening, she became the target of a murder. Nick quickly became the prime suspect. Since she was alone at home, she couldn't provide an alibi, and that was a major disadvantage. Luckily, her girlfriend Anna, a PD psychologist, timely arrived, lying Nick was with her that night. Although that cleared Nick's name, he was still temporarily suspended for investigation. After this event, it seemed like there wouldn't be a resolution anytime soon, so she decided to pack up and go home for an extended vacation. Nick and his situation were at the center of a storm, and the high life insurance policy with Caitlin was simply baffling. It felt like a Sherlock Holmes case. The police investigated, but they found nothing and had to close it as an accident. Everything seemed bizarre, yet since he was already suspended, better go home quietly. However, Caitlin was intrigued but couldn't understand. She doubted it was just for a book. She was convinced Caitlin was highly suspicious. When Nick returned, he saw Caitlin squatting outside his door, and this time, he wanted to see her trick. They drank, chatted, yet she never made a move, giving him enticing looks. Great temptation. Nick finally asked, What do you want from me? Then she pulled out a book. Inside was depicted a story about a boy who had murdered his parents. Wasn't this precisely a reflection of her parents' own tale? Seeing Nick's frown, Caitlin quickly clarified that the book was written after her parents' incident, meant to assure Nick not to freak out. Nick chose to believe her. Finally, she revealed she had written a book and invited him for deeper talks. Nick, intrigued, asked, So, what are you going to share? However, after a night of passionate chaos, as Nick was getting ready in the morning, he spotted a ghost-like woman appearing behind him. She interjected, Hey, did you call for Caitlin? How boring. Nick was caught off guard, realizing that this woman named Roxy was indeed Caitlin's friend. The words were clearly out of jealousy. Nick didn't back down. His comeback left her fuming. Little did he know, this moment of verbal sparring would eventually bring him peril. The next day, just after parting ways with the chubby guy, Nick was ambushed. Fortunately, Nick was quick on the draw. Thank his lucky stars he was smart. He escaped unscathed. Seeing that Nick evaded harm yet again, they fled into the distance. Nick jumped into his car and gave chase, but the other vehicle's performance was too superior and he couldn't keep up. So he opted for a shortcut leading to a wild crash on a construction bridge. She drove like a madwoman, not caring one bit about herself, but the other guy didn't seem keen on a double demise. Then, the next minute, when she checked the body, she uncovered a massive secret. Nick couldn't believe it, the claims were true. Investigating the vehicle and victim, they found it was registered to Caitlin, and Roxy wasn't ordinary. Alright, don't forget to subscribe to our channel to uncover more unknown secrets about Caitlin.